Thank you so much, Avda. That was beautiful. We so much appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we want to welcome our speakers for tonight, Ted Brownstein and Sheikh Ghassan Manasra. We're so privileged to have you. I will put your bios into the chat for everyone, and please share with us your wonderful teachings.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Abid, for setting up such a meditative tone to our discussion, help to open our hearts and our minds to what our conversation will be, learning from Torah and Qur'an tonight on the such essential topic of peacemaking. There's no peacemaker that I know in the world like my friend who is here with us tonight, Sheikh Ghassan Manasra, is the International Director of Abrahamic Reunion, a peace group in Israel-Palestine. And he has been a friend and co-worker for many, many years. We've done many, many programs together, and I always learn from him. He's always enlightening. There's nobody that has the ability to bring people together of diverse background and to make a connection than him. So I'd like for maybe Sheikh Ghassan to explain his work a little bit, Abrahamic Reunion, and how the importance of this work of peacemaking and connection building.
Thank you so much, and good evening to all of you. Really, it's a great honor to be with you here in this talk with you, Brother Ted Brownstein. I want to say that I learned and studied from you a lot also, lots of wisdom, lots of great teachings along our way together. About the question of Abrahamic Reunion, I think this is the meaning of Abrahamic Reunion, to be here together. Many people from everywhere to come, to sit, to know, to understand, to connect, to be as one. As I said this morning, the prayer vigil, we came equal, all of us. We were born naked people, and someone give us our clothing, fed us, help us. We came very weak people. Slowly, we got all of this power from all the people all around us, especially the parents and the other. What the meaning of the parents? Each one will teach me, you'll be my parents and myself. Abrahamic Reunion come to try to renew the connection and to say you are one. You are not different than the other, and you are not better than the other. You are the same as the other, and you are equal to the other. Then come to meet. And we in Abrahamic Reunion, long ago, 20 years and more, we are try to bring the people to be together, to create projects together, projects for women, for youth, for clergy, for many other people, educators and so on, for to come to discuss together, to study the text, the scriptures together, for not only to study these together, for to translate these scriptures into the daily life, and to try to reconnect and to be as one. And these leaders will influence their people. I will not talk a lot about this, but really, I'm so happy that Abrahamic Reunion begin to be part of many things all around the world. As Ted say, we have lots of work in the Holy Land and USA, Europe, Canada, and different places all around the world. And we see that we are succeeding because the people very thirsty for these great connection, and this great connection that we need to create for them. And as David, let's say, the chairman of the board, we need to change the future. And I added, if we'll change ourselves, we will change the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this program is a collaboration between Temple Adath Or, which is the Jewish Renewal Congregation, mostly in South Florida, but in this Zoom age, we have people from all over the country and all over the world. And then Abrahamic Reunion, of course, is in the Holy Land in the US, but also in England and Germany and other places. And then in Lake Worth Interfaith Network is our local interfaith network that we've collaborated many times with the different churches, synagogues, mosques, Hindu temples, and so forth in our area. Sheikh Ghassan has been in many and spoken on many occasions at Ramadan and in church settings and at TAO before and so forth and so on. So it's a beautiful thing to be together to have this collaboration. And we have with us tonight really a very international group. It's the middle of the night in Europe and in the Holy Land, right? But you know that Yona and Ian are here with us from France because they're traveling and they're longtime friend of Abrahamic Reunion and TAO, and have to give them a shout out because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning for them. So thank you for making the effort. And we have friends from Canada and all across the United States as well. So thank you for everybody for making the effort and the collaboration. It's the group spirit. So the peacemaking is that the theory that Abrahamic Reunion uses is the contact hypothesis. That is, get to know people as people, get to know them as individuals, rather than looking for political solutions on the ground or where the border is going to be or rehearsing the errors or the hurts of the past. It's a matter of focusing our attention on the future and what we want to build together. And so we have a few texts from the Torah and from the Qur'an, and also from the Baha'i writings and other things that we will share with you on the subject of peacemaking. And I can just start out by saying that the concept for this particular gathering came from Rabbi Mark. He said, every time we do something interfaith, people love it and we like to do it. So that's something that what TAO is all about. And the Parsha for this week is from the book of Midbar, from the book of Numbers, and has very many subjects in it. But when it came to the subject of peacemaking, one particular verse surprised me. I don't know how many times I had read it before, but I saw it with fresh eyes. And so we'll share the screen and we'll share this with you now if the technology cooperates. Okay, good. So here we are talking about swords into plowshares, very famous verse from Isaiah, which we will get to eventually. But I'd like to talk about steps toward peacemaking, anti-war textures in the Torah and the Qur'an. And the reason I use we use the word textures in there is because many times we find that there are wars that are sanctified basically in both of our holy books, in the Torah and Quran, but many times people aren't aware of the caveats or the limitations or the context, some of those things. And many times there are hints, whatever, that that war is an evil, and maybe sometimes be a necessary evil, but it always is hurtful and causes harm. And if I can just make a little aside, especially modern war, where you're throwing bombs and houses are exploding And, these things, a lot of innocent people are killed. In the old days, at least they went to the field, like they had the sword and they killed the other warrior, and, it was more or less limited. But modern warfare, of course, is that much more horrific. And so we have to really give attention to peacemaking as a way to make our planet more habitable. So anyway, the text, I don't know if hopefully you can see this whole screen, but in the book of Numbers, and why the screen is jumping, I don't know, but it talks about the Israelites going to war against the Midianites, who were a neighboring nation, and they came back victorious. But it really struck me as interesting that instead of having a big victory party and everybody jubilating together and having a big celebration and everything, there was a limitation put on the soldiers that came back victorious from this war. And the text tells them in translation that you shall then stay outside the camp 7 days. This is the soldiers that are coming back victorious. Everyone among you or among the captives who has slain a person or touched a corpse shall purify himself on the 3rd and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day you shall wash your clothes and be purified, and after that they could come into the camp. Of course, this is the context here is still the Israelites were in the wilderness, not yet in the promised land, and they were living in tents and camp in the desert. And so I thought it was very, very interesting that there was this sense of uncleanness, even on the victorious soldiers who were doing basically what they were supposed to be doing, but yet they had blood on their hands and needed to be purified. Sheikh, you have any thoughts you'd like to share on this concept?
Yes, I think in a small, because I trust you about what you say. It's when you'll come back from the battle of the war, it's very important to come back to yourself, not to come back with your victory. It's very important to come back to your humility, to come back to think about these people that you won or defeated. It's very important to know that we fight not for ourselves, we fight for the truth. But, the Sufi or the spiritual fight will be not to kill the people or to win the wars, as we read in Islam or Judaism or other religions. It's to try to fight with the soft word, to fight with a very soft path, very soft way. Because I want to say something, it's very important. When I came to the Sheikh and I say to him, we have lots of radicals here, we need to fight them. He say, yes, begin to fight. I say, how to get, where can I find them? He say, fight your evil inclination within you. And when you'll win, the sword will fall down, and your sword, if it will fall down, all the swords, many external swords will fall down, will be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's beautiful to think about the psychology of what's going on in the inner life, the spiritual life, the soulful life of the people. And when coming back victorious, we have to there's a readjustment period. And we know this is a big problem with post-traumatic stress and so forth with in modern life as well. Yeah. So it's so important, this word shalom, this word in Arabic salam. We are jumping ahead again against my control. But the word shalom is so essential in Jewish practice and Judaism, and the same in Islam. We greet each other. How do we greet each other? Shalom, shalom aleichem. And then in Islam, what do you say?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum is the same word, right? And so we're wishing peace, well-being to the world and everybody around us. So just as one example, there's so many beautiful places where the word shalom appears in the Torah and in the Tanakh, but the priestly blessing, the Bikrat Kohanim, says, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift up his face toward you. May he favor you. May his lift up his face to you and assign to you peace. So the last word to be said is peace. This is the goal of the blessing, that a person can be complete, can be happy, can be safe, and can live in good conditions.
I would like to say something, Ted, here, if it's okay.
Yeah, please, dude. Please, anytime.
Sure. I want to say, look, when God say, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisam lecha shalom, it's my God lift up his face onto you and give you peace. The meaning is, God, when you will come back from any victorious war or something, or victorious, you need to take care for the captives. Not only the captives that you got and you bring back, or you brought back with you to your camp or something. The captives, the meaning here is the strange elements enter to you through the war. This is the captives you need to free, not to keep them with you, because, in Islam, we say the prophets cannot keep captives. But when the Prophet Muhammad got captives after Badr, the first war with the idol people, he came back to his camp, and the new Muslims said to him, "What will do with them? Can we kill them?" He said, "No, they are human. But we will tell them if they want to enter to Islam, it's okay. If not, we keep them. They must teach. Each one must teach some Muslims how to read and how to write. If they will teach them how to read and to write, we'll free them." The meaning is to free these people, is to free the external people or the physical people, and to free all of your ego from yourself. And here is God will come to you with, give you a peace. This is the meaning of the internal peace, to create peace, not only to talk about peace and I need peace. You need to practice your peace. How to do that? Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful mystical teaching about the captives that we bring back. So this is a very famous verse from the prophet Isaiah. And again, we go skipping too fast. And most people are familiar with it, that the time will come in the future when it says God will judge among the people and arbitrate the disputes that they've had for the multitude of nations. And I think it's really important here. It says, however distant. In the Hebrew, it emphasizes that it's not just peace for the nations close by, or not just peace for your own country, not just peace for the Israelis, or peace for Judah at the time, or whatever, the people who were worshiping the God of Israel. But this was a universal claim for the whole world to come together. And the people would beat their swords into plowshares. So they would take a weapon of destruction and make it into an implement of life. Because a plow, of course, is a farm implement that grows food and gives life. So you have this contrast then between an object that can deal death and an object that can give life. And their spears into pruning hooks. Nation would not lift up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. But every family, and this is taken from Micah, which parallels Isaiah, every family shall sit under his own vine and fig tree with no one to disturb him, for the God of hosts has spoken it. I just think this is such a beautiful image. It might be worthwhile to take a minute and take a breath and picture in your mind the peace that is being envisioned here. Know that everybody will have tranquility in their home. They can sit in their yard, in their garden, and have plenty to eat and to reside in security. It's really a gorgeous, gorgeous picture. And there's so many ways that we can visualize peace, but this is one I thought was very powerful. And in order to make our program interactive, we want to open up a little bit, maybe to the audience. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, and then I think you can unmute yourself, or Sherry will unmute you. And if you can share with us maybe a word picture or a vision or what peace means to you. Don't be shy. Okay, Stephen has his hand up. I think you're unmuted, Stephen. So
I just unmuted myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah, peace means utopia, and unfortunately, in the heat of war, thou shalt kill.
So we're not there yet, are we?
Well, look at our world history. That's all. I won't.
It's something that has to be built. Yes. Thank you.
I like that peace here is paired with growing living things, with the fig and the vine. You know, peace is the space from which life can grow and emerge and flourish and bear fruit and be part of that great interdependence that we all live in and partake in.
Beautiful. Steve?
Yeah, I think that a big part of peace in my mind is music. And thank you for that opening piece that I was a little bit late hearing, but it sounded really nice. To me, peace is music, and I think that's something that God loves, is music. And if you can make music that somehow shares your heart with everybody else and shares your idea of peace with everybody else, that can take us a long way.
Beautiful. Thank you. One more comment, maybe? Rabbi? Yeah, wonderful. Please.
I think of peace. Excuse me, I have a terrible cold right now. So, peace is a positive interaction. You don't have peace just by yourself. It's joining in a complementary way. So when we talk about peace between traditions, it's because we understand the beauty of the truth of each, and we feel a celebration of that unity that we experience, and that's shalom. That's a wholeness that we achieve with each other.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it's a collaborative effort. It's making connection. It's what we're doing this evening. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. We have a few more texts that we can share. Okay. Okay, from the Holy Quran, Sheikh, would you like to read and then comment on this verse?
Yes. No, we'll go back to
the first one. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإن جنحوا للسلم فاجنح لها وتوكل على الله إنه هو السميع العليم. But if the enemy inclines towards peace, do thou also incline towards peace and trust in Allah, for He is one that heareth and knoweth all things. This is a very important verse in the Quran, that it's the motivation to create peace. The meaning here about وَإِن جَنَّحُوا لِلسِّلْمِ, here they say if the enemy, but in Arabic it didn't mention the enemy. He say if they will come to the peace. He didn't mention the enemy. I don't know why they translate this. The meaning is, You need to prepare yourself for peace all the time. And especially you need to clean the barriers within you, that it's keeping you in this path, in this way, not to create peace. The meaning is your enemy is not external. Your enemy is internal, because it's prepare many things to demonize the other. Don't believe that. You must believe your essence, your great sense, your great inner side, because it's very clean, and trust the come to the spiritual side within you to go to create peace. And if we will meet some, I cannot say enemy, but some people want to fight you, okay? If they directly, you are preparing yourself, they prepare themselves, and they want to fight. If they say, no, come to make peace, directly do it. Because if you will not listen to this verse, you are out of faith. And I want to say that Prophet Muhammad once came to his companions and say to them, they begin to ask about the war and so on. So he said, you will not enter to paradise until you love one another. And you will not you will not enter paradise until you'll believe. And you will not believe until you love one another. Would you like me to teach you or to guide you how to do something? If you will do it, you will love one another? They say, yes, Prophet. He say, spread peace among you. Now, many people taking the word peace as a title, and we need to create many projects, we need to do many things, we need to come to the peace. But peace is not only kind of desire to do, it's real desire, it's not external desire. Peace is path. It's process you need to make within you. You need to prepare yourself. You need to come to do peace. If you will not create the peace within you, you cannot create peace without you. You know, this is the most important thing that we need to learn from this place. And I think that most of the people in this time, especially this time, need to be as one people to call for peace, to do the best for peace. Because as we mentioned Ted before, you cannot be the strongest man or the strongest woman or the strongest congregation or the strongest group. You can be the soft person. This soft person will influence the world. The water can influence the stones all the time. It's flow in silent and love. And if we will flow with silent and love, we will change everything in the world. But it's process of education, it's process of teaching. If we'll teach differently, we will get the result quickly. Thank you.
Beautiful. There's another quote, another slide, a verse from the Quran. The two go together, so maybe we'll read them together. Would you want to take the next one then too?
Okay. You know, here they say that if they will not get away from you, will not fight you, and they come and throw to you peace, and they ask you for peace, don't touch anyone in this world to hurt them, because they stop to fight you. The meaning is, it's during the time of initiation of Islam, the beginning of Islam. And you know, all of the area they are trying to fight the Muslims. But God say to them, listen, we didn't come to fight. We came for peace. But if they will refuse and they want to attack you, protect yourself, fight, okay? And call for oneness, for one God. Then, but if they will come to you and say, we will not fight, stop that. Don't fight. Don't listen to the crowded world within you. Listen to the silence and to the Shekhinah, we say in Hebrew, Shekhinah, Sakina within you. Then they will not fight you and they say, we need peace. don't fight. If you'll fight, you are out of this religion, you're out of Islam. This is the teaching that I like in the Quran, you know, and it's not as many interpreters of the Quran say, and many other people say that the Quran fighting. Look at the verses here, you see, it's pushing the Muslims, and not only the Muslims, because I think the Quran is not only for the Muslims, for everyone in this world, like the Torah for me, for you, that it's for everyone in this world, because this is the word of God. It's teaching us to be peaceful people.
Thank you so much. And with your permission, I'm going to step into the world of the Quran a little bit. And I'm not an expert like you are, but hopefully the comments will be helpful. You know, the Baha'is believe in the Torah and in the Injil, in the Christian scripture, and in the Quran. And I haven't had a chance to study the Quran a little bit from a Baha'i perspective, you know. And Abdul Baha, who I think you call Abbas, right? Because you're from Israel and close to Haifa, where he was, in Akka. But anyway, Abdul Baha taught that all the wars of Muhammad were defensive. Everyone was defensive, and people think about, you know, the great wars of conquest across North Africa into Iraq, India, whatever. But this, of course, was long after Muhammad was gone, and it wasn't really going by the teaching that he laid out. But just like in Christianity, Jesus taught peace, but the Crusaders went in killing and conquering and creating empires and all of this. Well, the same thing happened in Islam. Wasn't really in line with the teaching of the Quran. So, you know, now after, you know, we have a lot of Islamophobia in the world, especially after 9/11, and people were quoting one verse out of context, saying, "Kill the unbeliever without mercy." And, you know, this is something that's found in the Quran, but they are totally disregarding the context, because it tells them in that context that the Muslims were attacked first. They were the underdog, so to speak. They were little people in the midst of, you know, pagan idolaters, and they were disrupting the status quo with this new teaching. And like many new teachings, you know, they become the object of attack and persecution. And Muhammad didn't tell the people to fight right away. He led the people from Mecca, where they started, to Medina, and tried to get away from the war, tried to get away from the persecution to protect the people. And then the Meccans, they sent an army to chase them. And they, after all of this, then finally, after 13 years, this is according to Abdul Baha, that Muhammad finally gave permission for the Muslim to protect themselves for defensive war. And it's in this context that there's a call to strike not the unbelievers, but these attacking, aggressive pagans who were supporting a point of view and being the persecutors of the nascent beginning Muslim community. Is this correct?
Yes.
Maybe you have some more stories or some more to fill in the blanks on my meager understanding.
Yes. I would like to say that it's very important about the wars in. I'll take in Islam, as we say, like what in the Torah say, "Velo yisa goy el goy cherev." It's you will not hold a sword to fight any guys or any other people. It's very important for us to know, to understand that the Prophet Muhammad, when once he say to his companions, come to go to fight on the border of Jordan and Saudi Arabia. It's at that time it was very far place, and he took them. When they arrived, they didn't fight. And they came back. Now, the understanding or the meaning of that he took them away and back, he created his war. He fought, or they fighted, or fought, I don't know what is the word in English, but their selves during traveling a long time in silent, in quiet. Some they were hungry and thirsty. They need water and so on to fight your evil inclination, to fight your ego there. And when you arrived, you came back because they didn't find the external enemy or the physical enemy. They fought themselves. When they came back, what the Prophet Muhammad said to them, now we came back from the lesser jihad into the greater jihad. And the people ask him, oh, Prophet Muhammad, what the meaning of the greater jihad? He said, to fight your evil inclination, to fight yourself. And here is, would you like to go to fight outside? First of all, finish the war within you. I think no one in this world can finish the war within herself or himself, because you need to fight your evil inclination all the time. After that, you will get out. But every day you need to fight to clean yourself, to clean the mirror of your heart, for to see clearly all the people all around you and all around the world. This is the message here. As you say, it's a defensive war. It's not attacking. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I stopped the screen share again so we can have a little discussion and comments and feedback from those who are with us here tonight. And I was especially curious of these verses in the Quran that tell people to use restraint, when it comes to war. And if the enemy or other people, attack you, you can defend yourself, but you shouldn't continue after they stop. You should also quit and desist. Maybe they have a sneak attack plan, and they're going to go away and claim peace and then come back some other time. And this is why it says trust Allah, because we don't know the mind of the other one. But if they go, let them go, and don't chase them, don't pursue them, and don't continue the war, after they ask for peace. So I'm just curious if this concept is new to anybody, if people were familiar with these verses in the Quran, and what you maybe have heard, hearsay, whatever, about the Quran's teaching and violence and war. Feel free to raise your hand, or Sherry, or you can unmute yourself with a comment. Okay, Steve, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how a whole meaning can change when you take something out of context. I'm digressing for a moment. I could say to someone, the surest way to lose you would be to say, I don't want you seeing out of the men. And someone can overhear just the I don't want you seeing out of the men part and get me wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they quote half of a verse, not even the whole verse, so this is definitely out of context of the chapter and historical context and everything else. Yeah, thank you. There's the other Steve, I think, wanted to say something.
Yeah, I agree with the whole concept that we're discussing right now, and I've thought this for quite some time. And I think that my task over the past several years, including 9/11 and everything else, had more to do with trying to bring back to the table of peace with Christians, people that I live around, because they're all just so angry at everybody that they were attacking Sikhs and they were attacking people that were not even Muslim, that maybe looked like Muslim, and for no reason at all. I remember a few years back there was a horrible attack in Milwaukee, and it was supposed to be an attack against Muslims, but it wasn't at all. It was about Hindus. That's who got hurt, or killed or whatever. And these people were so ignorant that they didn't know who they were attacking. So the whole idea of making peace inside yourself and then trying to calm everybody else down, is important to me.
Thank you for that thought. Yeah, I think we've all read those news reports.
So I have a question. What is the best way to get to know each other? I know I live in Minneapolis. We have a very big Somali community that is Muslim, but there is an interaction. between the two communities. And I think maybe because we don't know where to start, we don't understand how to be respectful and interact. So I'm just wondering if there's suggestions how to begin that.
Can I say something?
Please.
You're the one.
Sure. It's great, really, that you would like to take the first steps for to know and to connect. The question, it's like a cycle. It's like a circle. The people say where I will begin. I think we are right here. Many people began this before us, centuries upon centuries. But the most important thing, you know what is this? You know who is the brave? The brave who will take the first step toward create peace, to initiate peace, to knock the door. I'll tell you something. Listen, once in Israel, many groups say that the Muslims, they are aggressive, they are eating people, they are killing people. And I got and I swear, last time we ate people 100 years ago, and we stopped them that time. We stopped to eat people, you know. It's very important. Now, I say, listen, I will take groups from Tel Aviv, from different places, come to Nazareth, and we will make a kind of activity. The bus will put you in the beginning of Nazareth. You need to arrive to one point. You will come from this way, you will come from this way, other group will come from different way. Ask the people. It took about 2 hours walking, because Nazareth, it's not New York. It's a little bit smaller. Nazareth like this, you know, not like Gaza. And the people begin to walk. I was there waiting for them on the top of Nazareth. They came. Jews, they came with tires and with emotional dimensions and so on, so on, so on. So I said, what happened? Wait, we'll talk. After that, we'll go to eat. They say, the people we asked, all of them, they walk with us. They invited us to drink something, to eat something. They are welcome people. They are so great people. I told these people, you know why? Because they smell you, themselves through you. They know that they're brothers and sisters. And they say, yeah, because they are our cousins. I say, no, brothers and sisters. In time of conflict, they are our cousins. During time of peace, they are our brothers and sisters. Come to use the word brother and sisters. Our father is Abraham. And they discovered this. I want to tell you something. Take yourself. Go to the center or any house, knock the door. Say, I'm Rabbi, or I don't know who. I would like to come to talk to you, to drink with you cup of coffee. This is the code of the cultural coffee, especially the Arab and the Muslim world. The code, you know, we say that we know the culture of that nation or the tradition of that nation, but mostly you need to know the codes of that culture. Or the code is to drink coffee. May I drink coffee with you? They will say, please, welcome, enter, and begin the first step. You will find yourself creating a very, very highly project with them.
Beautiful idea. So, you know, I don't know what your community is like, Sherry, where you might find contact with, you know, the Somali population. Maybe there's a cultural organization of some kind. Maybe they have some kind of festivals or holidays or something. Maybe they're at a market, a certain market where there are a lot of merchants, you know, and just places where you can make contact, right? And strike up a conversation, build friendships, have a coffee, whatever, and, you know, start, you know, maybe starting to make connection with people that we don't know who are strangers to us. Beautiful question, very practical question. Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay, Dr. George.
I just wanted to say one brief thing. I love these. I love this group. I try to attend the prayer vigils whenever I can. I think it's so important what the Sheikh said earlier about reckoning with our own hearts first, making peace here. And then when we have any encounter, I don't think any encounter is too small. Any encounter, and we bring that peace, we plant seeds. We don't know what will necessarily come of that. That's in God's hands. But we always have an opportunity. And it's wonderful that we come together as brothers and sisters who are doing our best to be active peacemakers. But we kind of have to go into the lion's den too, and have the courage to make as many encounters as possible. And you never know what's going to happen. I'll just leave it at that.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for your practical comments. We have just a couple more slides that we'll go back to here. And, many times in our culture, we think that the strong survive or only the strong will win. But it's interesting that in all of our, the holy books in the Abrahamic tradition, we're going too far again, we find this quote, this concept repeated. And it's such an amazing parallel to me. And there really is so much in common between what the Torah teaches, what the Christian New Testament, the Gospels teach, what the Quran teaches. There's so many parallels, and people are so unaware that the Quran may speak about Moses and speaks about Jesus and Mary and mentions the prophets, and it even quotes from the Psalms. And this is what we're going to look at right now. So quoting from a Psalm of David, very well known, the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight in the abundance of peace, from Psalm 37:11. Now, Jesus, in the Sermon on the Mount, had all the Beatitudes, the blessings. And among them, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. So again, the parallel is right there from what David wrote in the Psalms. But then we find in the Quran, this quote, we, that is God speaking through the Prophet Muhammad, wrote in the Psalms, which is called Zabur. Am I saying it correct, Sheikh? In
Yes.
Arabic, that the righteous will inherit the earth. So here we have this beautiful parallelism. So it's not the warrior who conquers, who in the end of history, see, we have in our tradition the sense that history has a direction, that we have progress, that things move forward, that there is a day of reckoning. Some call it Judgment Day or the end of the world or whatever, but really it's a time when all the words of the prophets come to fruition. Like we talked about beating swords into plowshares, it says this takes place in the last days. It doesn't mean the planet's going to go away. It's the last days of the current society with its corrupt features, and then we start a new one. So, this whole idea of the arrow of history, of time being progressive, and all of our traditions point to this utopian, if you use the word of one of our contributors, or this ideal of a peaceful earth where everybody can live together as one. Sheikh?
Yes, I want to say I agree with you. Here is the meaning here that God will give the meek or the righteous people the waves of this world, this globe. I think there is an oral tradition that Prophet Muhammad say it's the strongest. It's not the man can win in fight. The strongest, he is this person, keep himself through anger, not through fight. The strongest is to keep you through your anger. The meaning is here, this is my interpretation, this is my commentary. It's don't go to the war, external war. Don't go to fight. find thousands ways and ways for to bridge the gap, for to reconciliate, because it's not our way, our path to fight. You know, there is a verse in the Quran say, "Oh people, we created you from male and from female, and we have made you nations and tribe to know one another." Then we created you, the creation for to fight, right? Look at this arch. God created us for to know one another. And God's will, it was to make us different. To make us different. The purpose of the creation is to know one another. The meaning to know one another, when we well know one another, then we can get directly to divine. Divine is the connection with God. And God wants us to be different. Through this difference, we can create more and more paths and ways for the next generations. I want to tell you something. We are still living on the shadow or the shade of the golden age. All of us, we're speaking about that. It's the Islamic, at that time, the Islamic civilization. Many nations used to live in Spain under the Islamic civilization, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and so on, so on, so on, so on. And together, because they were different, they created lots of philosophy. And we cannot say we don't need that scriptures or philosophy, because we still read it and we need it. But the problem of us, we read it without to practice that scriptures as a daily prayers, as a daily work, you know, together. I think we need to get that scriptures and to create a new scriptures and to do it to bring the people together. We need to create, you know, I want to say in short that we need to create a new education away from all the things that we studied, that it can motivate us or push us toward to be the strongest. Don't give that person to win. Don't give up. It's not true. To create peace, I need to be the bridge. I will allow all of the people to walk on me until we will get to the right area. This is our soul and spirit telling us to do. Thank you.
Yeah, and this was a model that just to echo something that you said, Sheikh, that the Islamic world at its height was very open to ideas from all around the world. And they had not only in Spain, but also in Baghdad and different places where they called scholars from China, India, different places. And they all contributed to the wealth of knowledge that became embedded and then was spread to Europe through the Renaissance later, and so forth and so on. And so I think everybody knows that we use Arabic numerals for numbers that replace the Roman numerals. Well, can you imagine if Newton tried to do calculus with Roman numerals? There was no zero, there was no concept of, you know, how could he possibly do it? So just as one little example of the great contribution of the Islamic world, you know, to world civilization. And of course, every culture has had its things that it gives and it puts into them to a common world community, and where we all learn from one another and benefit from one another. And this is what we're working for, right? Yes. So I have one last slide to share, and then we'll have maybe some more discussion and a little more music. But this is a quote from the Baha'i writings, and it really echoes the sentiment, we go always too far, of beating swords into plowshares. Here's a statue of the image of beating the sword into plowshare. And Baha'u'llah, who is the founding messenger of the Baha'i faith, said, "So it shall be, these fruitless strifes, these ruinous wars shall pass away, and the most great peace shall come." So this is a message of hope. This is a message seeing into the future, what the eventuality will be for humanity. that we will manage to find solutions to our problems. Hopefully it's the short way, and it may come in our lifetime, but maybe won't. But hopefully it won't be too many generations, and we'll live in a world of peace and solidarity. So, with that thought, maybe if you have some more reflections or comments on what you've learned tonight, or something you'd like to add to the conversation, now's the time.
Ted,
Lisa?
everybody, how many have heard the song Christmas in the Trenches by John McCutcheon? It's a true story about an oasis of peace. I'll put it in the chat in case you're interested.
Beautiful. I think it might be a case in World War I where the British and German soldiers got together, right?
It was World War II where the British and the French and German soldiers got together.
Good. Lisa, please.
I just want to thank everyone who contributed to this beautiful evening tonight. We're opening the book of Deuteronomy, which again just talks about slaughtering and slaughtering and slaughtering, and Tisha B'Av is next week. And there's so much sadness and there's so much despair. And I'm so grateful for the hope that we've brought together to this beautiful space tonight. So I wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you for contributing to it. Luz, do you want to unmute yourself, please?
I think Rabbi Yitz has his hand.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to the Lakewood Interfaith. And I was thinking about Caroline because I know where she is at this point with the Somali population. It has to be a longer conversation if we can connect. But one thing I can say as an immigrant myself is, as I think Sheikh Ghassan said, we have to give the first step. We have to risk to be rejected. We have to understand that we have many resources. We all have parents and children and families and communities, and you can start talking about that. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about anything. It's person to person, heart to heart. And it's the only way we can start getting to people one at a time. Beautiful. They are very different from you. They are Black. They come from another continent. And because I met them, I know what you mean and how difficult that is.
Beautiful. Coffee and a nash, right? Food and a little coffee goes a long way. Rabbi, please.
In Jewish tradition, again, I apologize for my gravelly voice, but first of all, thank you for sharing this wisdom today. And in the Jewish tradition, there's the question, Mi Gibor, who is mighty? And the answer is the one who manages their own Yetzer Hara, their own inclination to do what's not good. That's who's mighty, the one who can control themselves on the inside. It's very deep and shared wisdom from our traditions. It's beautiful.
Yeah, such a strong and meaningful teaching. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Sheikh, any final comments before we go to Abed's closing music?
I would like to say that thank you for all of the things that you said now. And believe me, when we teach in our congregation, the people think that here is the teacher, but no one knows that the teacher learned from the students or from the people all around us a lot. I want to say it's just to sit here among my big family it makes me strong and hopeful. As all of you said, as Lisa, as Luz, as the Rabbi, as, Dr. George also, and all of you, Sherry, and it's very important for us to come to be together. I want to say, we didn't finishing, we began. This is our beginning. Come to continue, to be together, to feel one another, and to see one another. And in early morning, when we'll wake up from our, sleeping, each one of us to send to another a smile. And believe me, all of us, we can feel that smile to be with us. Thank you so much, Ted. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, all of you, Rabbi, for having us together here as one family, the children of Abraham. Thank you.
I can't tell you what a joy it is to share with you always, and it's a delight. And the conversation is always too short, but we plant a few things and then we give ourselves a chance to digest it. Last Friday night we also had a chance to talk a little bit at Shabbat services with Temple Adath Or, and I really liked one of the thoughts that Rabbi Deb shared with us. She said that we wish peace upon all the sons of Ishmael, which refers to all the Muslim, right? And
Yes.
Peace on all the sons of Jacob, of Israel, which is the Jews. So Jerusalem should be the great city of peace. May peace be established at the heart and radiate to the world, to send this message of love and unity. And so it's good to be together. So I'd like to encourage everybody to take in everything that was said, breathe in, maybe try to create a moment of meditation so that the things that have been said can sink into our hearts and minds. And breathing it in and grounding ourselves and feeling the breath moving in and out of our lungs while we listen to some meditative music to unite our hearts and souls. Amen.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening and much peace to everyone.
Much love and peace.